Okay, it's time to start. Welcome all. We have a very exciting topic today for the interdisciplinary conversation between an economist and a political philosopher, Juhana Vartiainen, having a fairly sort of high position in the Finnish public sector structure. And Adrian Walsh is visiting us for a year at the Center of Excellence all the way from Australia. Let me just highlight the background of this, the origins of this session, as it were. It all goes back to a dinner with Juhana, and during that dinner we had a conversation about his sort of agenda and his difficulties, his sort of self-recognized difficulties with getting across the message that he has made so much effort to getting across to people, that something has to do with the problem that he keeps preaching about, the structural dilemma in the Finnish welfare system. And then he said, economics is not enough to getting this message across. We need political philosophy, a political philosophy version of the same story, so that people would find it more easier to understand and accept. And I said, this sounds like an 8th session. And so here we have an economist and with these problems, and wishing to have a complementary story, maybe a supportive story from political philosophy, but we'll see how it all goes. So the background is that there are these recognized structural problems in the public economy due to certain demographic facts. There is a fairly generous pension system in all of Nordic countries, but there's an aging population, especially in Finland. There is growing longevity, shrinking participation in working life, so the dependency ratio is going up and the fiscal sustainability is going down and all that. So these are the worries. Citizens benefit from the welfare state at young and old age, and they contribute to the fiscal capacities of the welfare state in between being young and being old. And this gives rise to a need of a social contract, as it were, and this is how many economists actually themselves put it. It requires a lot of trust in society, a lot of sense of overall fairness in regard to how things are organized in society, intensive social cohesion, the feeling of being in the same boat, as it were. Now, you can immediately see that these do not properly belong to the vocabulary of economics. Social contrast, trust, fairness, social cohesion, etc., etc. These rather belong to the vocabulary of political philosophy, but economists keep using these terms as well, but we will be learning more about how political philosophers would understand them. So the Nordic welfare model provides us with an array of fine public goods on the one hand, but it cannot be financed without a large labor input. People should work hard and more and all that. We know about this message. And the question is, how is this going to be ensured? How do we make it that people will actually work more for this common pool, as it were? What rights and responsibilities do citizens have, and how are they to be justified within the Nordic welfare model? So the idea indeed, as I just explained, is that the economic argument that recognizes the structural problem is in need of being supplemented with arguments from political philosophy that would be using these sorts of terms that are highlighted in bold font here. And then the interesting thing, I have no anticipation how things will go today, but the interesting question is whether there's going to be a challenge from the point of view of political philosophy, or whether Adrian is going to support this basic message that Juhana keeps telling the people. Okay. There are a number of questions. This has been also part of the public announcement of this event. that will guide the conversation. How can we save the Nordic welfare model and on what principles should it be based? How should we balance between individual economic entitlements and the requirements of the public economy? To what extent can we compel, it's a very, very hard, strong word, compel individuals to work by using activation measures? Should public benefits be contingent upon meeting obligations with regard to, for instance, availability for work and willingness to retrain and things like that? Do the government budget constraint and the abundant supply of public goods imply that the individual's labor input is not fully owned by the individual? This is also a rather hot question. If we accept that citizens have such duties to the public economy, what correlative rights might follow from the frameworks that justify these duties? These sorts of questions, as you notice, economic terminology and terminology entertained by political philosophy appear in these questions, and now we will see how they meet one another. Juhana will start.